Hi again, my name is Chris Hadley. I'm with Snobby Robot, and I am speaking today with Allison Vanore as part of our series of crew conversations with the crew of Producing Juliet. And she has produced this series and has worked with Tina Cecil Ward, the executive producer, the director, and the writer and the creator of Producing Juliet, on another one of her great series with Susan Miller, Anyone But Me. And she is joining me today. Allison, how are you? And thank you for joining us.
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about the show and all the things that you've got to talk about.
Thank you. Now, tell me a little bit about yourself in terms of your background, where you're from, what you do as a producer on Producing Juliet, your overall background as a producer, and your experience with web series and with filmmaking overall.
Yeah, I've been in Los Angeles for 10 years, and I started out as a production manager for a post-interactive house. And at that time, I was producing short films on the weekends and during my spare time, and eventually decided to leave the full-time gig and produce independent projects full-time. So I've been doing that for about 5 years now. And one of my goals originally when I left that full-time job was to do two things. One was to produce a feature film, and one was to produce a web series, because I'm interested in both film and television. And I figured that I'd done a lot of short films, and I wanted to expand, get my feet wet in as many areas as I could. And so at that point, I met some guys who were making the feature film Hopelessly in June, and then I met Jonathan Nail, who wanted to produce solo the series, and that's where those two worlds kind of kicked off. And there's a lot of similarities between the two, and then there's a lot of differences, and I enjoy both just the same.
And in addition to Solo and Anyone But Me and Cost of Capital, you also collaborated with your husband, Rob Goki, on some of those shows because he does the music for them.
Yeah, it's funny because, we don't ever really directly work with each other. Producer would be hiring everybody that's involved and doing the business side of things. And a lot of the times I'm not 100% involved in the creative side. So on projects where I'm the producer and Rob gets brought on as a composer, usually it's at the request of the director. Right. And I don't end up really directly working with him, but of course, we live in the same house, so yeah. I'm somehow involved. At some point in the process, obviously, I hear what he's doing and I'm involved. But yeah, so it's nice to be able to work together on projects and to be able to share in the successes of the projects.
Now, how did you become involved with Producing Juliet? I know you worked with Tina on Anyone But Me, but how did she bring you to her newest project?
Yeah, so Tina and I have worked together quite a few times, and being that I'm in Los Angeles and she's in New York, it doesn't ever really seem to be an issue for us to work on projects. And Tina and I have become friends over the past couple of years, and so all of her new projects, for the most part, we end up talking about at some point. And as she was developing this one, early on, she sent me drafts of the first couple of episodes of the scripts. So I was kind of in the loop from the beginning when she was just trying to develop the story. And so when she finally decided to move forward and produce the show, she asked me if I was interested in being involved. And of course, I love working with Tina, so it wasn't even a question. And what was exciting about this story in particular, besides the fact that I love Tina's writing and the story, but it also involved theater. And I've always loved theater. I actually minored in theater in college, theater production. Definitely never been an actor, but I love the production of telling stories. So whether it's film, TV, theater, live theater, whatever the medium is, I just love telling good stories, and I was excited to explore the possibilities of telling stories on multiple platforms at the same time. And that's, still something Tina and I would love to pursue, is, eventually having a theater component to the series. So, we'll see what we're able to do in the near future.
Yeah. And how would that work? Like, would the cast of Producing Juliet perform live in front of audiences, like their own material or material that's kind of inspired by the show?
Yeah, I don't have the exact answer because it hasn't been 100% developed yet, but Tina has said that we would use the actors from Producing Juliet and do a play, a play between seasons, basically, between seasons of the series. So, whether it was between seasons 1 and 2 or between 2 and 3, I believe she said 2 and 3, because this season is about the decision to produce a new play, and then all of the behind the scenes drama and stresses and challenges that will unfold because of that decision, leading up to the actual play. And so at some point we then would hope to produce a play, maybe even in multiple cities, maybe in London, maybe in New York, even maybe LA. So I feel like there's a lot of possibilities there, but we absolutely would want to use the actors from the series in the show that Tina would also be writing, or the play that Tina would also be writing.
And again, I wish you and Tina, the best of luck on that. I mean, I can't wait to see it if it comes to fruition. Now, what is it like working with Tina and with the rest of the cast? I mean, what have you learned from them? What do you like most about them, and what do you think is the best part of working with them? Not only Tina, but also Rachel and Alicia and the entire cast and Betty and everybody.
Sure. Well, I think the best thing about working with Tina is she always knows what she wants. So it's never a question, I never feel like we're lost, right? Tina always has a very clear path, and she's, she knows what she wants. She's confident in how she wants to tell the story, and it's just about making sure she has the tools and the people and the resources she needs to make that happen. So that's really how I see, my part of the collaboration, is making sure she has what she needs to tell her story. With the cast, luckily everyone is just so excited to be a part of it and so gung-ho to play these characters that it really feels like there's not a lot of effort I need to put in on my part to motivate anybody or convince anyone to stay with us, right? I mean, everybody is just really excited to be a part, like I am. So it feels easy on some levels. And Tina and Rachel and I have worked on projects together, so there's definitely a shorthand when it comes to working with somebody multiple times. So just like Tina and I have worked together, Rachel has worked with Tina before, and Rochelle even, so there's this shorthand, and in addition to that, all of our actors, not all of them, but most of them have worked together on other projects. So a lot of them are working together in the theater world as well as, now in the series. So everyone kind of feels like they have some sort of connection to somebody else, and there's a shorthand there. So it makes the difficulties of producing independent series a little bit easier because of the people that surround you.
Now, to follow up on that, what were some of the easiest parts of the production of the first few episodes, and what were some of the biggest challenges you faced?
I mean, I would say the easiest part was pulling a team together. Well, I guess it's a difficult part as well because of just the limited budget we have to work with. It's difficult to ask people to be a part of something where you can't compensate them monetarily for the true value of their talents and efforts. So, at this point, Tina and I, it pains us to reach out and ask people to help us. But when we do, because we still want to tell the stories that we have to tell, and so we feel like there's no choice at a certain point. And while our efforts in trying to find funding and to support the stories we want to tell, if they fall short at some point, we have to make that decision. Do we move forward anyway and ask people to help anyway? That's what we've kind of decided we needed to do for the first 2 rounds of shooting. And it's always a tough thing to do, but then when you see the support and the people and the love that comes out of our audience, our fan base, our friends, our colleagues, it's touching. We had a lot of people come out and support us and donate food and donate their time to make sure that it happened. And so while it's not the best way or the way we want to approach producing the show in the future, it's nice to know that there's people out there that still want us to continue making content.
Despite the fact that you and Tina are both working on a very limited budget, the show looks so great aesthetically in terms of the style. I mean, the cinematography, the sets, the everything, and especially because of the writing. I mean, the writing and the character portrayals really help Producing Juliet stand out.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think that's always been Tina's focus, is make sure that everything, all the money we have and all the effort that we have, let's make sure it shows up on camera, right? It shows up on screen. So everything that we're aiming for and rooting for is going to make it look better. So whether it's the camera choices, the crew, and the talent, and the locations. Locations always, locations are a big headache on the producing side, especially when you have a limited budget. So we're always reaching out to places that are willing to support us and help us out. So, whether it's a donated location or a discounted location, those places are really important to us, and we hope that their involvement with the series is helpful on some level to them as well. So whether it's a restaurant or the theater, or the city parks that we've used, we figured out a way to make it work.
Anyway, Allison Vanore, she is the producer of Producing Juliet, with executive producer, the writer, the director, the woman who brought it all together, Tina Cisa Ward. Thank you so much, Allison, for coming on Crew Conversations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.